During a Humankind livestream late last year, the developers let slip a few things about Amplified 2022, the event that's coming up in, believe it or not, only a few weeks, most likely. They noted that during January of every year they host Amplified, their studio event, where they showcase their different games and experiences. And this year will be no different. There'll be a Humankind Day, an Endless Universe Day, and an Amplitude Day. The 3-day event will be a festival of sorts, pulling things together like streaming activity going on throughout the morning and the afternoon with various guests. They also noted, of course, other cool things like announcements and so on and so forth. In this video, I want to take you through what we could expect out of Amplified 2022, and in particular, out of Humankind Day. This is Humankind's second calendar year. I think a good place to start is to reflect on Amplified's schedule from last year, 2021. In 2021, Amplified was held between January 20th and January 22nd, and as you can see, it essentially highlighted a variety of different game announcements, trailers, and feedback from the devs themselves. Now, of course, what we're most interested in is that Humankind Day in the middle, where you can see essentially the studio set some time aside to talk about the game. There was some discussion around modding, and then a gameplay stream. Now, it's important to note that a year ago, Humankind was not released. So the structure of that day and the structure of our Humankind Day this year will likely be very different. But I will keep it on the side of the screen just for a minute because I think it's useful even to just think about how the day may be scheduled or broken up. However, I think we can delve a little bit deeper than that because we have some insights from last year. We don't just have a schedule, but we also have various announcements and, of course, the actual facts. What happened? What kind of things did they introduce? Broadly, I argue there are 4 categories, and I'm going to show you some evidence of them in a minute. But firstly, I do just want to quickly note this is a new Humankind gameplay in the background, playing on the latest version of the game with a couple of small mods installed. I chose the Phoenicians. I don't know why, but I did anyway. I think broadly there are 4 categories of things to expect out of Amplified 2022 and out of Humankind Day. I should specify this is speculation. I don't have any insider information to share with you today, but I have done my own research, and I suggest you do the same. However, if you wouldn't like to do that because it's lame, let me tell you. Rewards and prizes, sales or trials, announcements, and then finally, community action or activity, streams, discussions, so on and so forth. Those are the 4 categories. This is what happened last year. The big headline: an endless free weekend, new DLC, live streams, freebies, and more. Free weekend for all of Amplitude's titles, or at least a lot of them, and sales of up to 3/4, 75% off, as well as some DLC announcements. Cast your eyes a little closer to the detail, and you'll see specific announcements related to their other games like Endless Space 2, Endless Legend. And right down the bottom there, you can see once you get past the free-to-play weekend announcement, something also interesting to note is the Humankind Day. Now again, Humankind hadn't been announced, so in this case they were teasing new features with a feature-focused video and introducing the avatar AI personas in a little more detail. I think that the coverage there gives you a good taster of what we could expect. Again, a surprisingly little amount has been said about this day, but I'm confident it will be going ahead because they've talked about it live on stream, and there's a few sort of murmuring and comments and forum posts, etc., floating around the internet, but we haven't seen any official details yet. I expect we should see those within a week or so. Realistically, if the event's going to take place in 2 weeks from the time of me recording this video around the 6th of January. Now, we know roughly what we could expect, basing ourselves off last year, and last year is by far and away the best year to base ourselves off, of course, because as you may have noted, and as eagle-eyed viewers may have read, last year was the first year that the event was called Amplified. Before that, it was more referring to their endless universe, because all of Amplitude Studios' games had been set basically within that endless saga, the endless universe. However, Humankind, of course, broke the mold. And now here we are with Amplified Studios' Amplified Festival, essentially. It's also important to note, of course, that while I'm focusing on Humankind here in this video, and I will for the rest of it as well, we have more to discuss, there are 2 other days around it, right? There's an Endless Universe day, Endless Dungeon, perhaps, we'll be hearing more about, this dungeon DLC, and so on and so forth. Or perhaps also in the 3rd day, the Amplified day, we don't even know what's installed there, potentially new content. Speaking of new content, back to what matters the most to us, Humankind Day. What should we expect in particular? Well, again, I have to reflect on what Amplitude Studios have done in the past with their fully released games, because this is the first time that Humankind will be fully out in the wild for us to get our grubby little hands on while they're holding this event. This annual event, it's important to note. So, what have they done before? Well, free trials. Now, that could be the case. However, again, just to throw a spanner in the works, Humankind does have a demo version already that was just released only what must be 4 to 6 weeks ago. I'm not really sure, time flies, but it does have a demo, so it makes you wonder whether there's a lot of utility in having the whole game free, other than the publicity, of course, and I'm not an expert on that, so I won't speculate any further on that part of it. However, there are other things that we can speculate and draw on historical examples on here too. Discounts. Humankind was 20% off over the Steam winter sale. 20% off is the best discount we've seen at retail for Humankind. I think we should probably expect to at least see that, if not a greater discount, perhaps. It's still a very new game, having only been on the shelves for 5 months or so, but maybe in the celebratory spirit of Amplified 2022, we might see better discounts. So if you're thinking about buying Humankind, there's another tip for you. I'd recommend you hold off, maybe just for a couple of weeks even, to see what happens. Then, of course, the big question on everybody's everything, dare I say it? Oh dear. It's Humankind DLC, right? Humankind DLC. Do we expect to hear content announcements? I have a theory. The answer is yes. Again, I have no evidence to support it other than history. History shows us they like to make announcements at this event. This is their big event of the year. It's maybe awkwardly placed very close to the start of the year. It celebrates their anniversary, so you can't really do much about that. But I think even with that awkward placement, and arguably a slightly more awkward placement in the fact that Humankind's only been out for 5 months, and so it sort of feels slightly infantile still, maybe slightly too young, I think that this is still a prime opportunity for us to hear about the future of Humankind. Will we hear specific DLC announcements, e.g. this feature pack, this culture pack, whatever else? I think we should be reflecting on what Sid Meier's Civilization 5, Civ 6, and other endless games, endless universe, endless space have done when we're trying to build our projections around what Humankind will do. That first theory, I think, has a reasonable chance. A culture pack, a DLC pack, whatever it may be. The second theory, which I think is also likely, they even could both play out, is that we hear more about the future direction of Humankind. Think a roadmap. Maybe they're not announcing DLC that's hitting the shelves soon or next month. Maybe there's not a flashy trailer, although I really hope there is. I would love to see something like that. I think we could also, or at the very least, expect to get a feeling for the direction of Humankind. A roadmap for Humankind's future towards more DLC, expansion, patch updates, or community developments. Because of course, this day will also be a celebration of community. And whatever way I or you or we can celebrate it, I'll be sure to be celebrating it here on my channel around the 20th, 22nd, 24th, whatever it is of January. We will be there celebrating in one way, shape, or form, so do subscribe and join us for that, and I will see you then. Take care.